Well, folks, I never dreamed that I would actually be playing a clip from Kirk Cameron and actually be agreeing with him. Kirk Cameron is the brother of Candace Cameron, who we all of us Gen Xers had a crush on her back in the day. And her brother is just one of these Looney Tune MAGA conservatives, but he's on another level. I have sat and watched his clips before. I'm sure I've talked about him at some point over the years, but I don't think I've ever played a clip here on the channel of him because his views and beliefs are just so far out there on a limb that I really can't wrap my mind around it. But even he can see that what Donald Trump is doing is dangerous. And even he can see that what Donald Trump is doing could be used against him later. And that's a point that I've tried so hard to drive home to the people that live around me and to the people that shouts, "Don't tread on me." I'm like, okay, well, you can't say that and then go out and tread on others. And when you start calling other people terrorists, and when you start calling for other people to be fired, they can easily turn and put that back on you. And if Trump could put the guard on the streets to go after blue cities and blue states, well, there could be a Democratic president one day that could flip that script and put it on Republicans in red states. And I never thought I would be agreeing with anything that Kirk Cameron said, but it's been a crazy year, and so let's roll the clip.
President Trump says he's sending the National Guard to stop violent crime, protect federal agents, and defend cities that seem out of control. He even said that he might invoke the Insurrection Act. That's kind of ironic, right? Remember January 6th? They called that an insurrection. But that Insurrection Act is a law that allows a president to deploy the military here on American soil. And it's a power that is extreme. It's meant for true emergencies like rebellion, like invasion or anarchy, not just everyday unrest. We need to think about tomorrow. If one president can decide who is a threat, what happens when the next president decides that you are? What if a future president, a far-left president, declares that Christians, homeschoolers, and conservative voices are domestic extremists? Would we have any moral ground left to stand on when those same powers are turned on us?
No, they'll never have any moral grounds to stand on because of who they are and what they've stood for this entire time. But the reason why that I played this clip and the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I do understand there are people who are never going to listen to me when I say it. I can say all day long, hey, you know what? One day they could turn this on you, but they just think that, oh, he's getting paid by Soros and all this other ridiculous shit they throw at me. So they're not always going to listen. But they will listen to one of their own. And that's one of their own pointing out what we've been saying here for so long is, hey, you all can have fun with this at the moment. And you all can think it's a good idea to put troops on the street. But one day that could be turned around on you. And if you want to sit and call us radical left lunatics who should be rooted out like vermin, there very well could come the day that a left-leaning president could stand up and say the same thing about Christians or the same thing about people that they disagreed with. However, I do believe that if a Democrat even uttered words anywhere close to that, I do believe that every mainstream media network out there would go ballistic and would absolutely call for that person to drop out of the race. I don't think that they would ever be able to get away with it, but Donald Trump can. He's always been able to. They always give him a pass. They always find a way to say it's okay when Trump does it. And that's where the gaslighting of this whole thing really does come in, is because you see him do something that's so over-the-top criminal. And you see him do something that they all accused Obama of doing. Everything that Donald Trump is doing now, the Kirk Camerons of the world thought Obama was going to do it. And they were telling us for years that he was going to do it. And it never happened. Obama came in and Obama played by the rules. Obama came in and he did everything the same way that every Democratic president came before him. And the only difference between Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter and JFK, I mean, what's the one big difference between him and the rest of the people I just named? He was black. And there are people that will say, he stoked racism. He stoked racism more than any other president. No, that's not the case at all. Barack Obama came in. He played by the rules. There was no scandals under Barack Obama. And he was one of the best presidents of my lifetime and of all time. but everything that they accused him of doing, Donald Trump is now doing. And there has to be that little part of them in the back of their mind that goes, wait a minute. Now, this is what we said Obama was going to do. And the Kirk Camerons of the world realizes, hey, you know what? The tide could turn on us pretty easy here. It could shift. And one day we could be over here with the guard on the street in our town, and we could be labeled the extremists. We could be labeled the radical right lunatics. And honestly, it would actually be more fair to call them that, because we have seen the radical left lunatics on January 6th. And yeah, I'm never going to let that one go. We saw them that day. We saw them take a noose to the White House or to the Capitol. We saw them try to overthrow an election, and I don't put it past them that they won't try it again. So whoever the next Democratic president is that comes in is going to have to come in strong. They're going to have to come in, and they're going to have to go to bat for us as hard as Donald Trump did for those January 6th insurrectionists. So, Kirk Cameron, may have a point here, and it could easily be turned on them. And when it does get turned on them, it's going to be really hard for people like us to have any compassion for it, because for the last 10 years we have been gaslit this entire time. And I hate using the phrase gaslighting, to be honest with you. I've used it so much and said it so much that I'm tired of hearing my own self say it. But I can't think of another word to more accurately describe the way that we've been treated. We have sat back and watched this criminal president be a criminal, and every time we call it out, we've had somebody sit and try to question us like, well, now, wait a minute. Do you really think he meant that? And if you'll notice, even in that clip, he said they called that an insurrection. That's because it was. But we had people sitting and going, well, was it really? Did he really? Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Did he really say fight like hell? Did he really say that? They always miss the point. They always miss the broader point. They'll just go to, well, now, really, though, did he really mean for him to do that? Well, he had an event called Stop the Steal. He told them, he lied to them, and he told them that the election was rigged. That was a lie. By the way, he still hasn't provided one shred of evidence that it was rigged. He's been the president now for 10 months. Has he ever provided you one shred of evidence that it was rigged? No, because he can't. But he lied to the people. He created an event on January 6th, which had never been done before. The event was called Stop the Steal. And then he said to people who were standing there and they had nooses and they were chanting, hang Mike Pence, he said to that crowd, you got to fight like hell. And if you say something like that to unreasonable people, they're going to do unreasonable things. But they'll always go to bat. Well, now, wait a minute. Did he really say there was good people on both sides, man? I don't think he really said that. Well, the rally was called Unite the Right. That day in Charlottesville, it was called Unite the Right, and Nazis showed up alongside people waving rebel flags, and they were united on that day. That's the broader point that everybody misses. This flag's my heritage. Well, what about that Nazi flag there? Is that your heritage? Oh, well then why are they here? Why are they aligned with you? Why are they uniting with you? And no, there's not good people on both sides of that one. But that's the world that we live in, and that's the people that will always go to bat for Trump. I'm glad to see someone like a Kirk Cameron say this. Maybe it will register in some people's mind, but I doubt very seriously that it will. I'd say they will just continue to double down, hammer down, and just be their asshole selves. All we can do is continue to go to bat for working people and go to bat for everyday Americans and go to bat for all of us, and we can never throw one group under the bus. If they come for one, they come for all. I truly do believe that. We have to stand up for the most marginalized. We have to stand up for the most vulnerable. We have to be a group that includes everybody in that and fights for everybody, because if we don't, we will lose. There's no more, it's not, the game has completely changed, folks. It's not the same. It wasn't the same. Donald Trump has completely, love him or hate him, he has completely reshaped American politics and the way that we go moving forward. We can't fall back on that centrist, middle-of-the-road Democrat candidate. It's never going to get us over. It's not going to get us over the hump, because we're up against something so radical and up against something that has done a masterful job of demonizing the other side. So we have to go away from that, and we have to come from a different approach. And we can, and we will. And I do believe that the pendulum is already starting to swing. When you see AOC and Bernie and Mamdani filling up, massive crowds That's because people are listening to what they say, and that's because people are wanting what they say. And when you see Mike Johnson talking about Mom Donnie, you can see that he is nervous. And it's kind of a reminder of back in the day when I saw Republicans getting nervous of Barack Obama. They're still nervous of that Bernie Sanders idea. They're still nervous of that. And that's why we have to put the hammer down on that this time and not turn our backs on it. There's no turning our backs on that messaging anymore. We have to embrace it or we're going to fail. And we can point those things out about our side, and the Kirk Camerons of the world is pointing that out to his base. But I have no faith that they will listen to him, but I do believe that we will listen, and I do believe we'll come out on top of this one.